Welcome back, everybody. It's Eric. Free NFL bets. Had a really good Thanksgiving week. It could have been better. Jameis Winston really screwed it up on Monday Night Football. Only he can mess that up. That was supposed to cash. That Browns plus 6.5 was supposed to be cashed more ways than one, like easily. But anyways, 110 units on the week, so that's good. We're back in the right direction. Got to keep stacking, though. Got to keep stacking. And I think we have an opportunity here tonight, guys. I think we do. I'm going to get into it. But let's take a look at the injury report first. Obviously, it's Green Bay at the Detroit Lions. These two teams played, let's see, what date was that? Sunday, November 3rd. So a month ago. And Detroit won 24-14. But if you remember, that was the first game back for Jordan Love. Well, not first game back. He played the week before in Jacksonville, but he hurt his groin or something at Jacksonville and did not return. And so he was a little hampered in that game against the Lions. So let's see. The Lions rushed for 124 yards. Jared Goff only threw for 145 yards. Jordan Love, 273 yards passing, 1 interception, no sacks. Josh Jacobs got going, 13 carries for 95 yards against them there. And, yeah, Jordan Love had 3 fumbles, recovered 2 of them, didn't lose any of them. Detroit had no fumbles and no interceptions for him. Let me take a look at the scoring here, who scored for them. I forget who scored in this game. Let's see. Oh, Kirby Joseph, interception return, pick 6. Jahmyr Gibbs, touchdown run, and that's it. Just field goals, right? That's all I'm seeing here. Field goals, is that really it? 9, no. Jahmyr Gibbs, and Amon-Ra St. Brown. That's right, Amon-Ra St. Brown. So, yeah, that's how they scored theirs. And then Emmanuel Wilson, 2-yard run at the very end of the game. So, yeah, so Detroit basically controlled that game. But, again, I'm not putting too much stock into that because of Jordan Love's kind of health situation. I don't know how much he practiced that week, but I'm kind of looking a little bit away from it. Like, okay, like kind of an outlier performance. Green Bay at home, like no showing like that. Like it's out of character for them. Now, both these teams, obviously Detroit's like on a 10-game winning streak or something like that. Yeah, 10-game winning streak, guys. Last loss was at home against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They got fortunate last week that Matt Eberflus didn't know how to use his timeout at the end of the game, or else that was most likely going to go into overtime against the Bears. Then who knows what would have happened then. But, I mean, just taking a look at the schedule, guys, for Detroit, they really have not been tested in a while, except for like at Houston. I'm not going to count Green Bay just because of Jordan Love and that whole situation. Like, yeah, that's a good win for them, no doubt about it. But, I mean, for Green Bay only score 14 points at home, like, and you know, I think that groin injury for Jordan Love definitely played a part in there. They played Tennessee at Minnesota. So, at Minnesota and at Houston, you could say those were good tests for them. They came back and won both those games, so that's good. Green Bay, their quality of opponent, they beat Miami, but Tua Tagovailoa is like 0-9 on the road in cold weather, like below freezing. So I don't know how much stock I put into that. They beat a really bad San Francisco 49ers team. They're in awful form. And they played the backup quarterback. Then they went to Chicago. That was kind of a tough game. Chicago is showing more life right now for sure, with Thomas Brown calling the offensive plays. They went to Jacksonville. They were tested there for sure. They pulled that one out. That was a good win. Tested against Houston at home. They pulled that one out. At home against Arizona, they looked great. Went to the Rams, pulled that one out. Lost at home against Minnesota. So, I mean, I go through that just to look at, you know, what kind is like their record kind of faulty or is it legitimate? And so, like with Green Bay being 9-3, that feels about right. Honestly, that feels about right. That's not just their team makeup and their quality of opponents and all that, not 9-3. That sounds about right. Now when I look at Detroit, I mean, you got to tip your hat to them, like 11-1. But do I really fully believe that they are an 11-1 team? I don't. And do I actually really think that their defense is as good as what their stats have shown, like the last like 6 games? I don't either. So I think it's more of teams not executing. So Chicago couldn't execute the entire first half, and then they got going the second half. The week before that, they played Indianapolis. The Indianapolis receivers were dropping balls like in the end zone. So Indianapolis had their chances to score in that game. They didn't capitalize. Throw Jacksonville out the window, guys, with Mac Jones. Throw that game out the window. That's what I'm saying. That doesn't count. They went to Houston. Okay, tip your hat to them, but still, they were down, and then Houston just like fell apart in the second half. Like they just fell apart, and we know C.J. Stroud has not really looked quite himself yet, right? And then Green Bay, I just spoke about that. Jordan Love's first game back, or first game since he tweaked his groin, and then they play Tennessee at home. So like those 6 games, they weren't tested, guys. Like really not tested, except for Houston, But like Houston, they didn't cover, and then Chicago, they didn't cover, and those were their 2 biggest tests in the last 6 games. And then they went on the road at Minnesota. They were tested. They came back and won. That's a really good win and cover there for them. And yeah, so like I'm just looking at that, guys, and I'm saying this Detroit team, they can be beat for sure. I think their record's a little faulty. There's no doubt about it. Injury-wise, their defensive line is banged up pretty badly, and linebackers too. Derek Barnes has been on IR. Alex Anzalone's been on IR. Jalen Reeves-Maybin's been on IR. Literally, the only starter they have right now is Jack Campbell at linebacker. And then the defensive line, they're really banged up. So DJ Reader's out. John Pascal's out. Levi Onwuzurike is out. John Kominski is out. We already know Aiden Hutchinson's out. And I looked up the backups, guys. Like, only one guy has actually logged meaningful snaps, and that's Al-Qaeden Muhammad. I think I'm saying his name right. Everybody else, Broderick Martin, Pat O'Connor, Jonah Williams, Miles Adams, like all those guys, they've barely played at all. So just off that alone, like that front seven for the Lions, and then just based off of their previous matchup, Josh Jacobs is going to have a day. In my opinion, Josh Jacobs is going to have a day. I mean, let's take a look at his props, guys. Let's take a look at his props. I try not to get into props that much because I don't know. I feel like I feel like I could do really well at it if I gave it more time. No way, guys. Is it only at 68.5, 70.5? I'm sorry. I think he's going over that, guys. I think he's going over that like pretty easily. I think Josh Jacobs gets 100 yards tomorrow. All right, let's keep it going, guys. So yeah, already off that, I like Green Bay plus 3.5. I am most likely going to bet that. And another reason for that, and I talked about this when I bet the Bears last week at plus 10, plus 10.5, whatever I bet it at, that these teams against the spread records. So Detroit's 9-3 against the spread. And they were 9-2 last week, so I knew that was definitely not sustainable. But being 9-3, like even then, so if you look at like last year's top ATS team, it was Detroit, and they were 14-6. So, like, I don't. Hold on, sorry. Whoops, sorry guys, sorry. I think that's including all the games. Let me just see regular season games. Okay. They were the best ATS record team last year, and they still had 5 ATS losses. So they're at 3 right now. They're at 3 ATS losses. So they could easily lose 2 more for sure. All right, so it's not out of the question for them to lose. And then Green Bay 6-6 ATS. So they have room to definitely, go either way. But I just think that 3 in the hook, I think that's just a little bit too much. Like, a divisional opponent, second time playing each other. Any divisional opponent matchup is like a little bit tricky. Like, sometimes there's some one-way, just like onslaughts, like the Steelers against the Browns for like so many years, and then recently like the Cowboys against the Giants. Like, some teams, they just beat them. But most likely, there's some good alternating wins and losses right there. So let me see if did Detroit beat them 2 times last year? Let me see. I forget. No, they lost at home. Oh, yeah, that's right. That's right. They lost at home Thanksgiving to the Packers. I forgot. After they beat them at Green Bay. Let's see 2022. 2022. They beat Green Bay both times. And let me just see 2021 just for S and G's. They lost at Green Bay, and then they beat Green Bay last game of the season. So, golly, guys, they went 3-13 that year. Jared Goff, I think it was the first year. Jared Goff went 0-8, 0-8-1. Can you believe that, guys? Jared Goff went he went 3-13 that year. I know Tim Boyle played 2 of that, but he went 3-11. 3-11 as a starter. Gosh. Who would have thought, guys? 3 seasons later, Jared Goff has played in an NFC Championship game. I know he played in the Super Bowl with the Rams, but I mean, man, his career looked done, guys, done. Now all of a sudden he's like just crushing it, which is like, I don't know, it surprised the shit out of me. All right, guys. So yeah, I'm looking. Sorry, I'm kind of rambling now. Yeah, I like Green Bay plus 3.5. I really do. Really, really do. They've been on the road and they've played well. They went to Brazil, played Philadelphia really tough. They beat Tennessee, Los Angeles, Jacksonville on the road, and Chicago. Wow, guys. They don't have a road loss yet this year. That's crazy. Huh. Kind of makes me think a little bit. Maybe Detroit does win this one, right? Because Detroit has a home loss. Well, it's not surprising either. I don't know. I just think late, guys, like Jordan Love's going to be able to move the ball, and he's going to be able to move the ball and keep it close. That's my hunch. That's my hunch, guys. That's my hunch. So over-unders at 51.5. I do lean over, but I don't feel great about it. Both of these teams are under teams right now. Detroit is 5-7 over/under, and Green Bay is 5-6 over/under. So, would not be surprised if this goes over. Both these teams played on Thanksgiving the week before, so this is like a full week for them. So yeah, guys, that's my thoughts on this game, and I'll probably have the full week podcast out tomorrow night. I'll try my best. I think you guys like it when I get it out Thursday night instead of Friday night. So yeah, guys, follow me at Twitter at EasyMoneyWins for all my communication and official bets that I place. If you want to see if I get there with Green Bay plus 3.5, follow me there. So I appreciate you guys listening. See ya.